Welcome to the Bite-Sized Tech News TLDR podcast, and let's get right into today's deep dive.
Let's do it.
We're skipping the conversational fluff today. No long wind-ups, new detours.
So straight to the facts.
Exactly, because we are currently tracking a massive high-stakes battle for AI supremacy that is unfolding literally in real time.
It is moving so fast.
We are talking about OpenAI. I mean, this is the company that effectively kicked off the entire generative AI revolution we're living through.
Right. When they launched ChatGPT, they changed everything.
And for a long time, they were the undisputed kings of the hill. They had the first mover advantage, the brand recognition.
The momentum.
Yeah, what felt like an unassailable lead. But suddenly, right at what looks like their peak, the walls are closing in.
Fast.
They are facing the absolute fight of their lives right now. So today's mission is simple. We're unpacking a $100 billion corporate war.
Which is a staggering number, but we need to look past the money.
Right. Because more importantly, we're going to break down exactly what this intense arms race means for you, the listener. We are looking at the bottom line.
The real-world impact.
How does this hyper-competition alter the day-to-day grind? How is it going to completely rewire the average professional's daily workflows?
Because it will.
The pressure is on. The landscape is shifting under our feet as we speak. And we need to understand the mechanics of this shift.
It's a fascinating dynamic to watch unfold because the era of a single, unchallenged AI monarch is officially over.
It's done.
Yeah, OpenAI isn't just fighting off a scrappy startup anymore. They are currently fighting a brutal, highly capitalized two-front war.
Two fronts.
Right. On one side, you have Anthropic, and they are making massive disruptive waves, specifically by targeting developers and enterprise architects.
We'll get into them in a minute because that is huge.
Oh, it's critical. And then on the other side, you have Google.
The 800-pound gorilla.
Always. Google is the ever-present gorilla in the tech space. I mean, they own the search layer, they own the browser layer.
Chrome is everywhere.
Exactly. And they never truly go away. So what we are seeing as a result of this two-front war is an unprecedented hyper-acceleration of product development.
It feels like there's a new update every day.
There practically is. This competition is forcing all of these companies to iterate faster than any software cycle we've historically witnessed.
So what does that mean for the person listening right now?
It means the tools you use every single day at your desk are evolving at a breakneck pace. These companies literally cannot afford to slow down for even a week.
Okay, so let's unpack this pressure cooker. And I want to start with the sheer scale of the giant we're talking about here.
OpenAI.
Right, because while OpenAI is under siege, they are not just playing defense. They have an incredible, almost unfathomable foundation to launch a counterattack from.
Their user base is massive.
Let's look at the numbers from our sources. Right now,
Get ready for this.
800 million people use ChatGPT every single week.
800 million.
Weekly active users.
Which is...
In the tech industry, hitting that kind of metric is rarefied air.
It's basically unheard of for a new utility.
You are talking about a scale that rivals foundational social media networks.
Or legacy search engines.
Right. But this is for an interactive generative utility that's more than double the entire population of the United States.
Logging in every 7 days.
We're talking about hundreds of millions of professionals logging on, generating text, synthesizing data, writing code.
Working alongside this AI.
Every week.
I think we need to push past just marveling at the size of that number, though.
Okay, where do we go with it?
We have to look at the behavioral shift it represents for the global workforce. 800 million weekly active users means we have blown completely past the early adopter phase.
Oh, way past.
We have even moved past the mainstream adoption phase. This scale dictates that generative AI is now a foundational layer of modern work.
It's just part of the furniture now.
Exactly. If you are a professional listening to this, you need to understand the paradigm shift. This isn't just a popular app anymore.
It's not a toy.
And it isn't a novelty. It is as fundamental to the modern corporate infrastructure as email.
Or spreadsheet software.
Or a word processor. When you have nearly 1 billion people interacting with a tool weekly, the scale dictates the new normal. It literally rewrites the rules of engagement for productivity.
And what's fascinating is that there was a lot of chatter recently, a lot of rumors circulating in tech publications.
On social media, everywhere.
Yeah, the narrative was that ChatGPT had peaked.
Right, that the novelty wore off.
Exactly. The tourists had left, and the growth had completely stalled out.
People love a downfall narrative.
They really do. But our source material highlights an internal announcement from OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, and it shuts that narrative down completely.
Completely obliterates it.
He went straight to his team and announced that they are back to exceeding 10% monthly growth.
10%.
Month-over-month growth at that scale is wild.
It is an astronomical influx of new activity. I mean, 10% monthly growth on a base of 800 million users.
They're adding tens of millions of users a month.
They're adding the equivalent of a massive, successful standalone company's entire user base every 30 days.
It's a compounding data advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's translate this into the real-world operational baseline for the listener, because this metric should be your ultimate wake-up call.
Why is that?
When a tool reaches this level of global saturation, utilizing it is no longer a competitive advantage.
It doesn't make you special anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
It doesn't set you apart from the pack. It is the absolute baseline expectation.
So if we drill down into the day-to-day execution,
Yeah.
what does that new baseline actually look like for someone trying to plan out their deliverables for the week?
It means that if your daily workflows do not seamlessly incorporate these tools for drafting or brainstorming or massive data synthesis.
Or complex problem solving.
Right. If you aren't doing that, you are not maintaining the status quo. You are actively falling behind a massive, highly efficient segment of the global workforce.
You do it the hard way.
The incredibly slow way. Think about the output delta.
Give me an example.
Okay, if someone else is using an AI to instantly synthesize a 40-page PDF into a 3-page action brief in 10 seconds.
Which you can do perfectly now.
And you are taking 3 hours to read it and take notes manually, your productivity metrics are going to look anemic in comparison.
You're going to look like you're moving in slow motion.
The baseline of what an average professional can produce in an 8-hour day has been permanently raised by that 800 million strong user base.
You have to adapt your workflows to meet that new minimum standard of output.
You have no choice.
Serving 800 million people requires an absolute army of developers.
An absolute army.
Which brings us perfectly to the actual literal battleground of this war, the code itself.
This is where it gets really cut through.
The battle isn't just for the general consumer or the average office worker writing emails. The fiercest arms race happening right now is in the developer space.
Behind the scenes.
And this is where Anthropic enters the chat with the battering ram.
They really did.
Anthropic has this coding tool called Claude Code. And according to the sources, it is making huge waves with developers.
Massive waves.
They are actively stealing mindshare, and they are doing it by appealing directly to the people who build the internet.
And that is a brilliant strategic maneuver by Anthropic.
Why focus so hard on the developers, though?
Because whoever controls the developer ecosystem ultimately controls the future of software.
The kingmakers.
Exactly. Developers are the kingmakers in the tech world. They are the ones building the applications, the API integrations, the enterprise platforms that the rest of the world uses.
So if you win them over...
If a developer builds a habit around Claude Code, they are going to integrate Anthropic's models into the software they deploy for their entire company.
It's a Trojan horse.
Precisely. Anthropic realized that if they can provide a demonstrably superior tool for writing code, debugging, system architecture,
they can pull the rug out from under OpenAI.
They can fundamentally undermine OpenAI's dominance from the ground up.
But OpenAI is not taking this lying down.
No, they are fighting back hard.
They saw the momentum Anthropic was building with Claude Code, and they launched a massive counterattack.
And it worked.
They just dropped a brand new model of their own coding product, Codex. And the internal metrics on this response are just staggering.
The numbers are crazy.
Following the release of this new Codex model, OpenAI saw a 50% jump in growth in a single week.
A 50% jump.
In 1 week.
That doesn't just happen organically.
We actually had the direct quote from Sam Altman's internal message to his employees regarding this.
What did he say?
He said, "This was a great week. Growth is insane."
Insane.
No, a 50% jump in a week isn't just organic discovery. That is a massive coordinated push.
Or a feature unlock that immediately resonated with the engineering community.
Right.
I'd actually push that analysis a bit further and look at the language Altman is using, because it is very telling of the internal corporate culture right now.
The growth is insane part.
Yes, this is the language of a wartime CEO.
Absolutely.
He isn't just disseminating dry analytics to his staff. He is aggressively rallying the troops.
He's pumping them up.
He is actively constructing a narrative of victory from within, When you are fighting a two-front war, morale and momentum are everything.
You can't let your engineers think they're losing.
He needs his engineers and researchers to feel like they are winning the battle against Anthropic's momentum.
But beyond the corporate theater, that 50% adoption spike tells us something real about the tech.
It tells us that the latency and accuracy improvements in the new Codex model were significant enough to force developers to immediately switch their workflows.
They dropped what they were doing and switched.
Overnight.
Let's bring that back to the real-world dividend for the desk worker. Obviously, for software engineers, this is massive.
Game change.
But what is the workflow impact of a 50% weekly growth in a coding tool for the broader professional landscape?
Like for non-coders.
Yeah. How does this alter a project manager's timelines or a product designer's sprint?
For professionals across the board, especially anyone adjacent to tech, development, design, or project management, this cutthroat competition is an immediate massive win.
Because things are moving faster.
A 50% weekly growth in the adoption of a cutting-edge coding tool means that the capabilities of automated and AI-assisted programming are evolving at a speed we haven't seen before.
The bottleneck is disappearing.
The immediate impact here is that software development cycles are going to drastically shorten. The time from ideation to prototype to deployment is shrinking.
So if a marketing team needs a custom internal dashboard built to track a specific campaign, something that used to take the engineering team a month to build out, test, and deploy,
might now take a week.
Wow.
Precisely. And if you are an individual developer, your personal output potential is effectively doubling or tripling.
You're doing the work of 3 people.
These massive companies are fighting for your loyalty by giving you better, faster, more intuitive tools.
I want you hooked on their ecosystem.
They are moving from tools that just autocomplete syntax to agents that can architect entire systems.
Write the tests.
And deploy the code. But here's the kicker for everyone else. Even if you don't write a single line of code yourself, the software you rely on for your job is going to get better, faster.
Right, because the people building your software are using these tools.
Exactly. New features will ship quicker. Bug fixes will be pushed almost instantly.
The entire digital infrastructure is getting an upgrade.
The entire digital infrastructure of your profession is going to iterate at light speed because the underlying tools building it are locked in this hyper-competitive arms race.
Your company's ability to execute complex digital projects is accelerating.
It's a rising tide that lifts all boats.
Okay, so they are battling intensely over developers behind the scenes, fighting for infrastructure dominance.
The invisible war.
But this rivalry is also spilling out into the public in a very visible, very messy way.
Very messy.
And it revolves around something every single user interacts with, whether they want to or not.
Advertising.
Ads. During the Super Bowl, which, let's remember, is the biggest, most expensive advertising stage in the world,
Millions of dollars for 30 seconds.
Anthropic ran commercials specifically mocking the idea of putting ads inside an AI chatbot.
It was so aggressive.
It was a direct, highly visible, incredibly expensive jab at OpenAI.
It was a fascinating and highly strategic strike. Think about the psychology there.
Spending that much money just to troll your competitor?
Spending millions of dollars on a Super Bowl ad, not just to promote your own product, but to explicitly attack your competitor's monetization strategy.
They were trying to paint OpenAI as the bad guys.
Anthropic was trying to position themselves as the pure, untainted alternative.
The safe choice.
They were attempting to plant a seed of doubt in the public's mind about OpenAI's motives and about the fundamental integrity of ChatGPT's outputs.
Because if an AI is serving ads, can you trust its answers?
Exactly. They are banking on the idea that users are inherently distrustful of ad-supported platforms.
And Sam Altman did not let that slide.
He was furious.
He immediately went on social media and fired right back, calling Anthropic Super Bowl ads deceptive.
It is a full-on public spat between tech giants.
That's like watching 2 heavyweights go at it on Twitter. But beyond the drama, let's look at the actual facts of OpenAI's ad strategy that are rolling out right now, this week.
And says it is happening.
They are officially testing ads, but they have laid out some very specific, rigid ground rules.
To protect the brand.
According to the sources, the ads will be clearly labeled. They're going to be placed at the bottom of the generated answers.
We're not mixed in.
Right. And crucially, OpenAI insists that these ads will absolutely not influence what ChatGPT actually generates in its response.
They have to say that.
They're framing this as a necessary evolution, a way to build a sustainable revenue stream without selling out the core integrity of the intelligence engine.
This raises a critical point about the architecture of trust in these new systems.
Trust is everything here.
We are moving from the search engine era to the generative engine era.
Explain the difference.
In search, you expect sponsored links at the top. You know how to scroll past them.
Right.
But in generative AI, the machine is synthesizing an answer for you. OpenAI is claiming they have built a strict firewall, a separation of church and state, so to speak, between the monetization engine and the intelligence engine.
So the ads don't infect the answer.
They are promising that the highest bidder cannot buy a biased answer to your query.
So if you ask for the best CRM software,
Salesforce shouldn't be able to buy their way into the AI's objective analysis of the options.
even if their ad appears at the bottom of the screen.
Exactly. The generation has to be pure.
So what is the bottom line security and verification impact for the listener? We are all using these tools to synthesize sensitive market data,
We're doing competitive research.
making real-time business decisions based on what this AI tells us.
The integration of ads fundamentally alters the environment you are operating in.
You can't just blindly trust it anymore.
This is a critical workflow shift for any professional relying on AI. The moment ads are introduced into a platform, you have a new potential trust vector to manage.
A trust vector.
While OpenAI promises that the core outputs remain completely uninfluenced by the ad inventory, you, as a professional, must now maintain strict information security hygiene.
You have to be careful.
The interface is no longer a pristine, neutral sandbox.
Meaning we have to change how we read the screen.
Yeah.
We have to be actively aware of what is generated intelligence versus what is placed inventory.
Exactly. You must navigate these platforms with the explicit understanding that they are now monetized search environments.
Someone is paying to be there.
The visual real estate of your workspace is being sold to third parties.
So what does that require from us?
This requires a heightened level of critical awareness. You have to double-check fast.
You can't just copy-paste anymore.
You have to verify that the outputs are unbiased and haven't been subtly shaped by proximity to sponsored content.
Or that the AI isn't inadvertently surfacing information that heavily aligns with its ad partners.
Right. Your productivity cannot come at the expense of accuracy.
That's the bottom line.
In an ad-supported AI ecosystem, vigilance is a non-negotiable part of your daily workflow. You are no longer just an operator.
You have to be an auditor.
You have to be an auditor of the information you were given.
That is a massive shift in how we interact with the tool. But let's take a step back and look at why they are doing this.
Follow the money.
Exactly. Why the sudden push for ad revenue? Why the frantic pace of deployment? Why is a company that had a massive lead suddenly acting like a scrappy startup fighting for survival?
Because of what comes next.
It all points toward an absolutely monumental financial goal. According to the sources, OpenAI is aiming for a potential $100 billion valuation in its next fundraising round.
$100 billion.
That number is just, I can barely wrap my head around it.
It is a staggering amount of capital. To put that in perspective, a $100 billion valuation places them among the most valuable private companies in human history.
But to truly understand this narrative, we have to look at what that money is actually intended for.
It's not for a new office.
No. A valuation of that size and the massive influx of cash that comes with it during a funding round is not for building nicer corporate campuses.
Or hiring thousands of middle manager.
This is a war chest, and it has one primary existential purpose.
Buying compute.
Compute. Let's define that for a second, because it's the buzzword driving the entire global economy right now.
It really is.
We are talking about raw processing power. We are talking about data centers packed with specialized silicon.
Yes. The insane amount of computing power required to train the next generation of artificial intelligence.
Because what we have now isn't enough.
Not even close. The models we are using today, as smart as they seem, as revolutionary as ChatGPT and Claude currently are, they are incredibly computationally expensive to create. But they are just the beginning. The next generation of AI, the models that will truly revolutionize industries with a deep reasoning and complex multi-step planning.
The agents that do the work for you.
Right. They will require an order of magnitude more power. They need more data, more time processing that data, and vastly more energy.
So this $100 billion goal.
This $100 billion fundraising goal is quite literally a bet on total, unassailable market domination.
Winner takes all.
If they can secure this war chest, they can buy the hardware and the energy infrastructure required to outthink and outscale the competition.
And look at who is lining up to foot the bill, or at least sitting at the negotiating table. The tech titans are circling.
They all want a piece.
We already know Microsoft and Nvidia are in. Nvidia, of course, makes the actual GPU chips that power this entire revolution.
They're selling the pickaxes in the gold rush.
Exactly. But the sources show that Amazon is in talks to invest up to $50 billion.
$50 billion!
And SoftBank, historically known for making massive, paradigm-shifting tech investments, might put in another $30 billion.
$30 billion more. If we connect this to the bigger picture of the tech industry, the Amazon detail is arguably the most revealing piece of information in the sources.
Why is that the most revealing?
Think about it. Amazon is a direct competitor in many cloud computing and AI spaces through AWS.
Right. AWS is huge.
The fact that a behemoth like Amazon is potentially willing to drop $50 billion to fund OpenAI alongside Microsoft.
Who owns Azure, Amazon's biggest cloud rival.
Yeah. Exactly. It shows a fundamental shift in the landscape. Foundational AI models are no longer just software products.
They're becoming utilities.
They are becoming the new base infrastructure of the internet. Amazon realizes they need a massive stake in that foundational layer.
Even if it means sleeping with the enemy.
Even if it's built by a company tightly aligned with a rival. Because that layer is going to dictate the future of digital commerce, search, and enterprise computing.
So let's bring this massive macroeconomic maneuvering back to the listener.
The bottom line.
Amazon, Microsoft, and SoftBank are potentially throwing around $80 billion in new capital into a single company. What is the real-world operational dividend of this?
How does it affect the desk worker?
Yeah, how does an $80 billion cash injection alter the day-to-day reality of the average professional?
For the professional, this intense capitalization signals one very clear reality.
What's that?
The tools you are using today, the ones you currently think are cutting edge, are essentially just prototypes.
Wow. Just prototypes.
The influx of $80 billion plus in new capital guarantees that the next generation of AI will feature vastly superior reasoning.
Unprecedented speed.
And capabilities we haven't even fully mapped out yet.
Can't even imagine what they'll do.
We are talking about agents that don't just draft an email. They read your entire inbox, synthesize the context of ongoing projects, draft responses,
update your project management software,
and schedule follow-up meetings without you lifting a single finger.
How do you even prepare for a leap in capability like that? If the current tools are just prototypes, how do you future-proof your own career?
By architecting your current business strategies and your daily workflows to be completely flexible.
Don't get locked in.
You cannot afford to build rigid processes around the specific quirks and limitations of today's ChatGPT.
Because it's going to change tomorrow.
You have to build systems that are adaptable enough to seamlessly integrate those next-gen models the exact moment they drop.
The moment they are live.
Your productivity advantage in the near future will not come from having mastered today's tool. It will come from your agility in adopting tomorrow's.
You have to cultivate a workflow that assumes exponential intelligence growth.
Always be ready for the next upgrade.
And speaking of adopting tomorrow's tools, let's look at the sheer velocity of OpenAI's recent actions.
That's a sprint.
They are moving at a speed that is almost dizzying. It makes you question if this is sustainable momentum or if it's a calculated short-term show of force.
To dazzle the investors right before they ask for that $100 billion valuation.
Exactly. Let's recap the timeline from our sources because it is an absolute sprint.
Let's hear it.
In December, they declared an internal code red to rapidly improve ChatGPT.
Right.
Just last week, boom, they dropped the new Codex model that saw that 50% growth we talked about.
Huge win.
Then, shortly after, they launched a standalone app specifically for Mac users.
Getting onto the desktop.
And now, this week, they're getting ready to launch an updated chat model, AND. They're officially testing the new ad integrations.
All in a matter of months.
It's nonstop.
This is the textbook definition of a company operating in absolute overdrive. The pace of deployment is incredible.
They aren't sleeping over there.
They are refusing to cede a single inch of ground to Anthropic or Google. They are fighting back aggressively on every single front.
Against Anthropic, they deploy the Codex update.
Against Google, they push forward with search and ad monetization.
And by launching a standalone Mac app,
They are fighting against user friction, ensuring their tool is integrated directly into the operating system level rather than living inside a browser tab.
They don't want you to have to open a browser.
They are trying to make themselves inescapable.
So what does an AI company operating in absolute overdrive mean for the end user? What is the impact of this rapid release timeline on our execution speed?
The immediate impact for professionals is the absolute necessity of continuous adaptation.
You can't just learn it once.
The days of learning a software program once, getting your certification, and coasting on that knowledge for 5 years are entirely over.
They're dead.
With standalone Mac apps, the friction to actually access and use AI is dropping to near zero. It's just a keystroke away.
It's always running in the background.
But conversely, with weekly model updates and constant feature drops, the requirement to constantly update your own skills is rising exponentially.
It's a daily grind just to keep up.
You are going to have to treat learning your AI tools the same way you treat reading your morning emails or checking the daily news.
It's just part of the routine.
It is an ongoing daily requirement to stay relevant in your role. You have to carve out time every single week just to test what the new models can do that they couldn't do last week.
That is intense. Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We've gone from the internal memos and the developer code bases to the public Super Bowl spats,
The drama.
the incredible 800 million user metrics, and the $100 billion compute war chest.
It's a lot to process.
OpenAI is fighting back aggressively. There's no denying that. They're sprinting to maintain their lead.
They're swinging for the fences.
But based on everything we've unpacked, their time as the single, unchallenged, undisputed king of AI is over.
It's a crowded field now.
The walls have closed in, the competitors are heavily armed, and the race for what comes next is wide open. It's time for the final assessment.
Let's distill all of this down.
What are the 3 most important takeaways our listeners need to walk away with today? I'll start with number 1.
Go for it.
Number 1, productivity acceleration. The fierce, high-stakes competition between OpenAI's Codex and Anthropic's Claude Code means the professional tools are improving at a dizzying, unprecedented pace.
You have to embrace it.
You have to embrace the constant updates and integrate them into your workflow immediately. Or you will get left behind by a global workforce that is automating the mundane and accelerating their output.
Takeaway number 2, the ad era.
This is a big one.
Ads are officially coming to ChatGPT. While OpenAI is promising that these monetized placements will absolutely not influence the generated answers, professionals must stay hypervigilant.
You can't be lazy.
You must prioritize information integrity and platform trust. Verify your outputs, check the sources, and understand that the environment is fundamentally changing from a pristine sandbox to a monetized ecosystem.
And takeaway number 3, the compute war chest. The massive potential investments from giants like Amazon and SoftBank signal an imminent, massive leap in foundational AI capabilities.
It's going to be huge.
The tools we have today are just early prototypes. You need to prepare your workflows and your business strategies for next-generation intelligence by building flexible, adaptable systems.
Don't get locked into the past.
If you want to keep up with the fast pace of tech and ensure you never miss a beat on these massive shifts, make sure you check out the Tech News TLDR YouTube channel for our daily video updates.
And to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over as you close out this deep dive.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We are watching a $100 billion infrastructure of computing power being funded and built by a tiny handful of the largest tech titans on Earth.
The biggest of the big.
Right. So if the very tools we use to build, to compute, and to compete in our own individual careers require that level of centralized, hyper-expensive infrastructure,
Are we actually in control?
that's the question. Are we actually becoming more independent and empowered in our daily workflows? Or are we becoming entirely inextricably reliant on the private infrastructure of just 3 or 4 massive corporations?